okay, for them to try and cover it up. That would absolutely be a motive. Also, someone asked when I posted that video yesterday, someone wanted to know, and I didn't get to answer their question because the broadcast was concluding and the music was already playing. But someone said, why then, if that's the case, if my theory is the case, why would they keep the throat and the lungs? And my answer to that is simple. Because if they had the throat and lungs, they could prove whether or not the person drowned. And according to my theory, I don't think that anyone drowned that day. That's what I don't think. I think there was too many darn people out there for someone to simply drown and nobody saw nothing. Whatever happened to anyone, I would guess if I had to. And like I said, I don't know anything. This is all pure speculation. I can't blame any of these people for anything because for all we know, it could absolutely have been an accidental drowning. Let me just state that for the record. But if anything happened even remotely close to my theory, or like what happened with Paul Murdaugh, Alex's son, when he was driving that boat and committed a whole BUI, that would absolutely be a motive for someone to want to cover this all up. Nobody wants to go to prison, okay? No one wants to have to spend millions of dollars for wrongful death lawsuits, just like Alex Murdaugh didn't want to do that. Please pay attention. Now, here are some more of the charges they could face. And remember, if you have a relative that's a judge or an attorney, they will be able to tell you all of this that I'm about to read to you. And I'm sure that they too wouldn't want you to go to prison. And they wouldn't want to have to spend millions of dollars on wrongful death lawsuits that you acquired, because 9 times out of 10, it wasn't even your boat. Okay, but let's continue. So BUI manslaughter, BUI manslaughter / manslaughter in the second degree. Utilized in many jurisdictions, this felony charge applies when an operator recklessly causes the death of another person while operating a watercraft under the influence. Criminally negligent homicide, a lesser felony charge that may be added if the state argues the operator failed to perceive a massive unjustifiable risk that resulted in death. Second set of charges related to serious injuries. Serious injury by vessel, a specific felony charge triggered when a boater causes severe bodily harm, such as a loss of limb, disfigurement, or organic brain damage while operating under the influence. BUIs causing serious bodily injury, the equivalent felony standard in various state codes penalizing the operator for every individual who is heavily hurt in the crash. Aggravated assault battery by vessel. Depending on local statutes, prosecutors may tack on standard criminal battery or assault charges if the vessel was operated with reckless disregard for human life. Please pay attention. Boating under the influence, the foundational charge for operating a vessel with a blood alcohol concentration at or above the legal limit, typically 0.08%. And this is for adults. A separate BUI count can be issued for each type of impairment. BUI alcohol, BUI illegal substances. Reckless operation, reckless endangerment, a charge for operating a boat with a willful or wanton disregard for the safety of persons or property. Child endangerment. If there are children on board the vessel, such as under the age of 14 in Georgia, at the time of the drunk driving accident, a separate mandatory child endangerment charge is added for every child present. Now, before I read any more of this, let's just see if any of this even applies to Mississippi. Lights up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, as you can see, it says yes. A resounding yes. The general categories of charges apply to Mississippi, but Mississippi uses different specific legal names and rules compared to other states. Most importantly, if you're operating a boat in Mississippi waters, the legal BAC limit is actually higher than on the road. Okay, that means blood alcohol content for anyone confused. Now, under the Mississippi Alcohol Boating Safety Act, the legal blood alcohol concentration limit for boating under the influence is 0.10% or higher, whereas standard driving DUI is 0.8%. However, if the U.S. Coast Guard enforces BUI in federal waters off the coast, the lower 0.8% federal limit applies. Now, U.S. Coast Guard enforces waters. Okay. Now, with that all being said, accident results in serious injury or death. The applicable charges under Mississippi law include felony BUI, injury or death. Mississippi does not use terms like homicide or homicide by vessel or intoxication manslaughter. Instead, under Mississippi Code Statute 59-3, 23-7, causing death or serious injury while operating a watercraft under the influence is automatically classified as a felony. Do you think they wanted to ruin these boys' lives and careers and list them and label them as felonies, something that would haunt them for the rest of their lives? Absolutely not. Now, I'm not saying that they should have been charged or hit with felonies because I don't even know if they did anything. But if they did what I think they did, well, that would be felonious. Now, manslaughter. Prosecutors can separately charge the operator with manslaughter under Mississippi's general homicide statutes if the operation of the vessel was grossly negligent or reckless. What would be grossly negligent or reckless on a boat? Oh, that's right. If you took your boat and hooked it to a 22-foot Triton that weighs thousands of pounds, and you tried to pull it. Okay, yeah, that would be reckless. Please pay attention. And I've already shown you the proof of that on yesterday. Now, goes on to say that a reckless operation administered by Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, this handles operating a vessel with a willful or wanton disregard for safety. And then they go on to talk about child endangerment some more. But the bottom line is, hold on. I think I read from the wrong part. But anywho, let me start right here. So, no, I was at the right part. Okay. Now, post-crash violations. Failure to render aid. Mississippi law dictates that operators involved in a boating accident must stay at the scene, offer assistance to the injured, and immediately report the collision. Fleeing results in separate criminal charges. Y'all see that? Fleeing results in separate criminal charges. So I find that all interesting. Okay, I find that all interesting because my question is, if someone was injured or dying on somebody's boat, did anyone bother or think or attempt to render aid? Did anyone think to render any sort of aid? Because it certainly doesn't seem like it. Okay, it certainly doesn't seem like it. Now, with that all being said, abandonment, says Sweet Butters. I absolutely agree. Okay, I absolutely agree. User Z27 says accessory to the facts. Absolutely. Big Mike says no life jackets and were on underage boaters. They claimed they had life jackets when the dispatcher, Vicky, asked them. Wyatt said, yes, we have life jackets, but I didn't see any life jackets. Did you all? Because I sure didn't. And if you have life jackets and your boat's sinking, wouldn't you want to put them on? Okay, what is this, the Titanic? You're just going to let it all go down? I mean, make that all make sense. The lies are just getting nefarious at this point. Okay, absolute nefarious. Dawn says Mississippi makes their own laws as they go along. Well, beloved, that's certainly what it sounds like. The captain of the boat has responsibility, says Darnell. Absolutely. They absolutely have responsibilities. Okay? Question is, who were the captains on these boats leaving Horn Island on the day that Nolan passed away? Bart. Okay? Bart. And Wyatt, right? At least I think that it was Bart on his boat and Wyatt on his grandfather's boat. Hold on, beloveds. Likes up, everyone, please. Thank you in advance. I'm looking for something really quick. I'm looking up to see exactly how much money Alex Murdaugh had to end up paying for that boat crash that his son committed. Okay, so he got off kind of easy, in my opinion, because it says his insurance company paid $500,000 for the settlement to the family of Mallory Beach, who died in 2019 due to the boat crash. The payout finalized Alex's personal resolution in a wrongful death lawsuit conditioned on him being dropped as a direct defendant. Hmm. Now, Parker's Kitchen settlement, $15 million was paid by the convenience store chain that illegally sold alcohol to underage Paul Murdaugh prior to the crash. So they sued the owners of the convenience store who sold the illegal substances to Paul. But I thought they said Paul had his father's license. Hold on. I could have sworn that's what it was. Maybe I was wrong. Let me check. No, he actually used his older brother Buster Murdaugh's driver's license. Okay, so here's my thing. The surveillance footage from the store caught the 19-year-old Paul presenting Buster's ID to the clerk. While he used Buster's ID, he paid for the alcohol using his mother Maggie Murdaugh's credit card. Before the store clerk accepted an ID that belonged to a different person and didn't match the name to the credit card, the Beach family filed a wrongful, or because the store clerk accepted an ID that belonged to a different person and didn't match the name on the credit card, the Beach family filed a wrongful death lawsuit directly against Parker's Kitchen. This major security oversight is what ultimately led to the massive $15 million lawsuit paid by the convenience store chain. Well, here's the thing. You see how this is privilege right here, folks? This is privilege right here. Now, how do you use a fake ID, go purchase alcohol, get wasted, and then go drive a boat and people end up dying? But because you used a fake ID, because clearly you were being nefarious and deceptive, they want to blame the store for selling you the liquor? But they thought that was him. That was his older brother who likely looks like him. So now they're going to place the blame on someone else. Let me tell you all something. This is the epitome of privilege. You see, people who are so privileged and rich and all of that and have these high profile parents who are just like, the officials of the town and all of this. They have all of this, all of these people that they can get to work in tandem with them where they're doing something nefarious. That's nothing more than privilege, because we would like for them to explain why the store is to blame when clearly they were deceived. So if they started locking up, or not locking up, but if they started suing every store owner because somebody showed them a fake ID, do you know how stupid that is? How was this person supposed to know that was a fake ID? If you have a brother or sibling, whether it's a sister or brother that looks exactly like you, how are you going to blame the person who fell for it? Make that make sense. And also, they said because he used a credit card with a different name. It was his mother's credit card. People do this all the time, but in this case, since they want to find someone to blame, that's what they do. Well, I just want you all to pay attention to the case of Murdaugh, because that's exactly what's going on right here. Okay, I've been comparing these two situations from day one, and I'm telling you, I can see what's coming down the pike. Okay, I can absolutely see what's coming down the pike. This is all so crazy, and it's really starting to get upsetting. Okay, it's really starting to get upsetting. That's already been upsetting, but they're really starting to tick me off because they keep just taking us around in circles. Okay, sending us on wild goose chases. They have us stuck like a hamster in a wheel, just spinning around and around and around, and we're not getting anywhere, even though we keep moving. Overthought said the credit card doesn't match the fake ID. Well, here's the thing, beloved. There's been times when I have used someone's credit card and it didn't match my ID. So make that make sense. Also, even though the ID wasn't his, the person likely was fooled, because if it's an older sibling, they probably look a lot alike. So all I'm saying is they're trying to shift the blame and act as though the clerk and the store are the ones who are at fault, but aren't the people who victimize them by going in there being deceptive so they can do illegal actions, aren't they the ones that should have been blamed for that and not the people who run the store? All I'm trying to show you all is this. When certain people do stuff, even if it's criminal, they don't get any responsibilities or consequences. Rather than blame them, they want to blame the people who own the store who were tricked. That's the play here. And y'all don't think that's exactly what's going on with Nolan's case? Because I absolutely do. And I can't prove it, but I hope that someday we all can with receipts. Okay? That's right. Dawn said I have used a credit card without an ID. Exactly. It doesn't matter. I've let my sons use my credit card. It doesn't have their name on it, it has mine, and they showed their ID. So the bottom line is that dog is not going to hunt. That's right, Sweet Butter says passing the buck. Okay? That's all they do. They even make up scenarios to get these people off. Remember how they lied on that, or they lied for that teenager who took the lives of 4 people because he was drinking and driving. He got probation. He got probation. That's crazy as hell. Do you think that would have been the situation for any of us, of the people that look like me? Absolutely not. There's no way that would have happened, okay? They would not have gone for it ever. You're going to jail. They're not going to be telling you can go over and sue this store owner or the clerk who was at the station or at the cash register. Okay? The person at the cash register asked for ID. They were presented with ID. They're not a facial recognition expert, I'm sure. And we all know that very often our siblings look like us. Some of them look so much like us, we could almost be twins. They're going to blame them. That's just how it goes. And like I told you all, pay attention because the same exact thing is going to be happening right here. Okay, the same exact thing. $15 million because someone came in your store and lied to you about who they were. Make that make sense. Okay, that's right. Carl said white privilege at its finest. Absolutely. Okay, I absolutely agree. Truth Brown said we would have been under the jail. You already know. Dawn says I live in Georgia and I got locked up for public intoxication walking down the street. So make that make sense. I mean, I would love to, but unfortunately, I can't. The sad thing is I can't make sense of anything that these devils do. Because first of all, they don't operate on logic and common sense like most of us do. They operate on such a low vibrational frequency that they absolutely have to be none other than the children of Satan. Buckhorse DC says, Emmett Till, I know you will. Is that supposed to be bars, Buckhorse DC, beloved? Okay, is that what that is? Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Sweet Butter says, I got arrested in my front yard in California for intoxication. How do you get arrested in your own darn front yard? What I'm saying is this. They love to just pin anything on black folk, whether you did something or you didn't. They love to just pin something on us. Meanwhile, letting whole crooks and criminals, just because they have the complexion for the protection, to get away with anything, even up to and not limited to murder. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that anyone involved in this case committed any murder. I'm just speaking generally. This is what devils do. This is absolutely what devils do. Buckhorse DC says Black Power forever. Okay, Buckhorse DC, beloved. Thank you for that. And thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so, this is a whole lot. And the devils are doing the most. And here's the thing. It seems like they just sit at home. And I'm talking about Warren and his friends. It seems to me like they just sit at home waiting and watching the internet, gathering information and details and absorbing everything that we're saying that they're not doing. And then right after we say they're not doing this or they're not doing that, then guess what? They come out of the woodwork and start doing this, that, and the third. And in many cases, doing too damn much. That's why they're looking so guilty as hell right now. You see, the cleanup is just a bit too much. It's giving performative. Okay, it's giving lies and BS. It's giving, oh, we are guilty as hell. Now, I'm not saying that they're guilty as hell. I'm just saying that's what it's giving because that's what it's looking like. That's what it's sounding like. Because all this stuff right here, this is all too much. Why in the hell are people online doing more of an investigation than Sheriff Ledbetter? I have several questions. Why isn't there any level of transparency? I want to find out. What are they going to present to the grand jury? Will they give them all of the facts, all of the evidence and information that they have compiled at all? Did they even compile any evidence? I would love to know. Or are they going to waltz up in there to the grand jury and basically lay down a few facts that lead the grand jurors to believe there's nothing to see here, folks? And that will be nothing other than Southern fried justice. Okay? And this is what they love to dish out. All right. This is what they love to dish out. I'm just not convinced that there's going to be justice in this case. I hope and pray that there is, because I don't think Nolan's mother will be able to sleep good at night unless someone pays for what the hell they did to her son. And we, in my opinion, are not mad enough. I don't think we're mad enough. At the end of the day, we need to be doing something like, say maybe a boycott. I really feel like there needs to be some consequences for these actions. I really feel like there needs to be something done. I'm not saying go out there and riot, loot, do anything foolish, burn anything down, but I think that somebody has to pay consequences for this nefarious BS that's going on. And I think we should all collectively hit those people that are the biggest hitters. Okay, I think we need to boycott them. What do you all think? Because somebody needs to pay. Somebody needs to have consequences. And I don't care if they were involved or not at this point, because here's why I don't give a damn. Because when they come for us, they don't care if they got the right person or not. If one black person did something or they even think or suspect that they did, they don't care whether they get the right black person as long as they get a white person. So here's how I feel right about now. If that be the case, then let's do it. Because I feel that if that is how they want to play it, then we need to do the same thing as far as boycotting one of their biggest businesses. And even though that business had nothing to do with it, so what? Somebody has to pay.